So just taking it a little forward, you have written novels, you have written short stories, you have written poetry, and you have also written and worked around short films. What is it which interests you the most amongst these so many things that you bring on the table?
So I never thought of it like that, Avantika. You
Hmm.
know, uh, I I thought of everything like this garland, a string of words or a string of musical notes.
Hmm.
So uh, the very word language was fascinating to me. It always is fascinating, you know. I think most of the troubles we have in our lives is because of language. Let me give an example. So there is so much of am I happy, am I not happy? I had a good day, I had a bad day. I'm sad, I'm successful. Uh, I don't know where I'm going. I know what I want, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, and our regular communication when we talk with friends or family early morning, how are you? What's up? How are you? The small talk. And sometimes we run out of words, you know. We have really nothing to say. So I think this very language, I think sometimes becomes a burden. Because of this language, because it's conditioning, we say, I'm not happy. I want to die. You know, so if we strip ourselves with, you know, completely, you know, we become language free. We really become free. So I've always had an academic interest towards language. So with words, for instance, whether those words are in Hindi or English or Urdu or Sanskrit or French, doesn't matter. You know, uh, and that fascination with words and with notes, musical notes, continues till this day. For an artist, it might be a stroke. You know, for a cook, it's something, you know, which relates to cooking. You know, for a gardener, it's all about the soil. That's the language. For a writer, for somebody who loves writing and reading, it's all about words, right? So I never thought of it as, or for that matter, you know, people like me who are, you know, who are obsessed with cinema, you know, films, all sorts of films, as a means of entertainment and education and awareness, right? So I never thought of it as poetry. Should I do poetry or should I write a short story or a novel? It's all starts with one word. It starts with a string. It becomes a sentence, and after sentence, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, and then it might be a short, it might be prose, but who knows? It might be poetic prose. You know, you always insert a little bit of poetry in that, you know. Or if it is poetry, it might be, you know, a little bit of prose poetry. And then a little bit of music, you know, so and the little bit of some, you know, uh, all senses, the sense of touch, the sense of hearing, the sense of sight, sound. I mean, that's all, that's how we perceive the world and we perceive ourselves. Uh, so I always, I think, thought that it is pointless to, you know, whether it's poetry or prose or photography, you know, I think these were things which I always wanted to do in life. No matter what you do, I could have become a teacher, or I could have become a policeman, or I could have joined the army, or I could have become a clerk, for that matter, in a government office, you know. But I always knew that, you know, this world of words and musical notes and images will always remain fascinating, and it is still fascinating. I think that's what I think we are still drawn to social media these days because it opens up the world for us, you know, and it
Yes.
shows us great photographs, images.
Hmm.
Sometimes we stay, sometimes we don't, you know.
Hmm.
But if we open our hearts, I'm
Hmm.
sure those images, those words, that music, that rhyme, that absurdity, uh, you know, that drama will touch us, you know. So in any case, you know, I think I started writing poetry, then I started writing short stories, no matter what. My first book was published as a student in 93. Uh, it's called Paul and Other Poems. It's out of print. Writers Workshop that time was a very reputed uh, publishing house in Calcutta. So I was 17. I was 17. My first book of poetry was I was elated because I used to think that you can write a poem a day. And still a very special book for me because all I did those days was kind of write poetry. And then I think I went on to write more. My second book of poetry came out. That time I think around 10 people in the neighborhood got to know. We just migrated out of, yeah, not migrated is not the right word. We were forced out of Kashmir, as you know, in 1990. So we were living in exile. I think a lot of writers who happened to be reputed writers, senior writers, my dad's generation that time, were very happy that, because I think this book has poems about love and about exile and displacement and dreams and other things. They were very happy that, I think I was able to kind of come up with a book. My dad helped in publishing, and we would sit, somewhere in the bazaar with this book, and other people would bring their own books so that we used to have these mini gatherings, at shop fronts or the school compound or the college, park or the garden, and we used to just exchange ideas and read out passages. Unfortunately, we don't have much of photographs because none of us had a camera you know, but those memories, I think, are still with me. Uh, and eventually I went on to write many stories and novels. It was an obsession because the world of novels is fascinating. I mean, as kids, all of us read short stories and novels, right? We read fairy tales. But the aim, something I would love to do is to write a children's book or a fairy tale. I really, really, have always, you know, found this world of fairy tales fascinating. There's princesses, there's a duck, there's a cat, there is this, grandmother, who is not so good, and then this prince, and it's snowing out. Something, you know. And so maybe uh, if I uh, muster my passion and strength, I should be able to write a children's fairy tale.
Yes, we are looking forward to that also.